I have had a great experience at Elmhurst. I'm obviously involved with the volleyball program. We're like sisters. It was instant friends as soon as I came here. Every year, the seniors get to pick places where we want to go for a tournament. So we've been to California, Colorado, Boston, and it's just been a fun experience because not only do we play volleyball, we also get to do touristy types of things. I would say we're pretty close because we practice 5 days a week for 2.5 hours. We're lifting, we're doing bonding things, and we're traveling on the weekends. So you're pretty much with these girls for 3 months every single day for hours. So we're all pretty close.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year. Well, kind of Happy New Year anyway. Happy New Year's Eve to you. I'm Tim Calderwood on Blue Jay TV. This is Elmhurst College Athletics. This afternoon it will be women's basketball as the Blue Jays welcome Nebraska Wesleyan University for what is the final non-conference game of the season for Elmhurst. The Blue Jays will open the CCIW portion of their schedule. Coming up on Tuesday, they will be here at home against Millikan University. Elmhurst is 4-6 entering the matchup this afternoon, while their opponent Nebraska Wesleyan, surprised they're from Nebraska, a 5-5 mark, but they have lost 5 games in a row. Elmhurst, meanwhile, had won 3 of 4 before losing their last contest December 18th at DePauw University, 66-47. DePauw is a nationally ranked opponent. The Blue Jays are at home for just the 3rd time in the non-conference slate, and it is their first game in almost 2 weeks. Nebraska Wesleyan went through a similar layoff. They had not played in 18 days before their first game here in Chicagoland, when the Prairie Wolves faced Benedictine University on Wednesday and were defeated by the score of 55-49. So we'll see if Elmhurst shows perhaps some effects of the layoff like Nebraska Wesleyan did on Wednesday, as the Prairie Wolves turned the basketball over 29 times in that 6-point defeat. Starting lineups are being introduced here at R.A. Fagettl Hall, and it would be my privilege to pass them along to you. We start with the visitors from Nebraska Wesleyan. 5'6" junior guard out of Longmont, Colorado, Shea Rasmussen. 5'3" sophomore guard hailing from Littleton, Colorado, Janelle Ball. A 5'11" sophomore forward out of Wahoo, Nebraska, Mallory Shanahan. 6' senior forward out of Gretna, Nebraska, Katie Golden. And a 5'11" senior hailing from Brainerd, Nebraska, Sadie Strubing. For the Blue Jays, the starting lineup is as follows, and I'm going to look on my sheet, so you'll have to pardon my looking away from you on this fine announcer cam here on the table, my new favorite toy. Although you can tell our producer-director Glenn that he still has his bag in the background behind me. Devin Vaughn starts, a 5'9" freshman out of North Aurora, Illinois. It'll be her second collegiate start for the Blue Jays. Jordan Maistel, 5'5" freshman from St. Charles. Kelsey Monroe, 5'8" senior out of West Chicago. Megan Merklin, 5'11" junior from Plainfield. And also starting for the Blue Jays is Megan Ney, a 6' junior hailing from Carroll Stream. So those are the starting lineups for the contest. Elmhurst head coach Tethany Werner on the bench for the Blue Jays this season, hoping this contest helps to propel them into the new year and into the CCIW portion of the schedule. Megan Ney in the center circle against Sadie Strubing, and Nebraska Wesleyan will open with possession. The Prairie Wolves traveling left to right. As you watch at home, they are in the black uniforms. Entry pass into the post towards Strubing, knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Merklin. It'll stay with the Prairie Wolves. One of the kind of interesting things about Nebraska Wesleyan, they're actually in a conference with a lot of NAIA schools. So they don't have the opportunity to play very many Division III games, as they're called for a 5-second violation, despite the fact that they are a Division III school. Kind of a unique thing, to say the least. They opened the season at Buena Vista with a victory, and Buena Vista is usually a pretty solid Division III program, but then did not play again in Division III for 4 games until they went to face Chapman and Colorado. Nebraska Wesleyan's kind of on an island in the Midwest by themselves, unlike here in Chicagoland where there's so many Division III schools around. Well, that's not the case in Nebraska. Kelsey Monroe misses the three, but an offensive rebound. We'll hand it back to Monroe, who quickly travels. No score yet, first half here in Elmhurst. And then the last three matchups before their visit here to Chicagoland had also been against NAIA schools, Briarcliff, Mount Mary, and Doane. Nebraska Wesleyan opened the season 5-0, but they've lost 5 in a row as they take to the floor here on this New Year's Eve. Shanahan, corner right, forced to work it back up high for Golden. He'll try the left side of the lane, and it's knocked out of bounds. 8 to shoot for Nebraska Wesleyan. Neither team has scored of yet. Golden inbounding the basketball to the left edge for Ball. Having to hurry, popping out his Golden corner left to the lane for Rasmussen. Wing left over the top of Ney and in. Good job by Rasmussen, sensing the clock and getting off the shot in position, knowing exactly where she needed to be to score the first points of the game. 2-0 Nebraska Wesleyan. Head coach of the Prairie Wolves, kind of an interesting story behind him, Eric Jensen. He's a graduate of North Central College, so he certainly knows all about the CCIW. Megan Merklin, wing left for three, out of bounds on the rebound to Nebraska Wesleyan. Just the second meeting ever between these two programs. The first of those was last season on December 9th. Elmhurst with a 79-68 victory in Nebraska. Lindsey Long with 31 points, Megan Merklin 21. While Nebraska Wesleyan, similar to what you're going to see here today, a lot of balance, 5 players in double figures. Shea Rasmussen leading the way with 18 and Janelle Ball with 13, both of whom are still on this Prairie Wolves roster. Ball is loose, and it's scooped up by Monroe. Looking to break towards Ney, wing left, who is bothered by Janelle Ball. And we will have the first foul of the game. Devin Vaughn with the ball high above her head, looking for an entry pass towards the post. Overshot Merklin, and away with it comes Ball. Rasmussen pulls up, top of the arc for Ball. Right-hand dribble, backing up, met by Monroe. Golden at the line, spinning, finding in the left corner Shanahan. Forced to stop it up, 10 to shoot. Rasmussen looking in the lane for Strubing, knocked out of bounds with 7 on the shot. Glad you're with us on Blue Jay TV on this New Year's Eve. Hope you enjoyed our men's coverage during the Blue Jay Classic the past 2 days. Benedictine University winning the Blue Jay Classic last night. Rasmussen for 3, top of the key, no, and a foul on the rebound. It will go against Elmhurst. Benedictine upending Elmhurst yesterday in the championship game of the Blue Jay Classic, and this, our final broadcast of 2010. Coming up, though, on Tuesday, it'll be the women's basketball CCIW opener against Milliken. 7:30 tip. We'll have men's basketball CCIW opener on Wednesday, also against Milliken at 7:30. And those will come your way here on Blue Jay TV. Good move by Strubing. Inside the left elbow, the 13-footer is well short, and a foul on the rebound as Jordan Maisto is pushed. Janelle Ball with her second, and that presents a problem for Eric Jensen, as his sophomore guard will have to depart with 2 fouls. Emily Linus off the bench, freshman from Lone Tree, Colorado. Good move by Devin Vaughn, faking right, back to the left, and banking home the 6-footer. Wow. Devin Vaughn in just her second start out of North Aurora. Prepped at West Aurora High School, and you're seeing one of the reasons why Tethany Werner has given the freshman an opportunity to play. 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for Tethany Werner. Tied at 2, 3.5 minutes into the first half. Linus is now handling the point guard duties with Ball on the bench with 2 fouls, and a good job by Monroe to knock it into the Elmhurst bench towards her teammates. Rasmussen inbounding in the Elmhurst bench. Shanahan corner left. Good pass towards Shady Strubing, who easily drops it in. If Strubing can get started in the inside post, look out. 13 points and almost 9 rebounds per game for the Prairie Wolves. And a turnover for the Blue Jays. Eric Jensen has to be happy with what he's seen from his squad here in the first half. Rasmussen tries the right side, has her pocket picked by Vaughn. Talked a little bit with Eric Jensen before the ball game today. Said they had a very good practice leading up to their game at Benedictine on Wednesday. They've been in Chicagoland since Tuesday and are leaving after the game today. As Maisto evens the score. But that it just didn't translate into their game on Wednesday night at Benedictine. So traveling violation will hand it back to the Blue Jays. Said there was a lot of stagnant on offense. And it led to 29 turnovers and a very low-scoring affair between Benedictine and Nebraska Wesleyan. And Benedictine, of course, in Lyle, predicted to be one of the top teams in the Northern Athletics Conference this season. Some substitutions for Elmhurst as Rashida Joyner is in, along with Lauren Rhodes. Joyner targeting Ney in the post. It is knocked back towards the bench. Plenty of time to work, 15 on the shot. Joyner backing up, using a screen from Ney, angling towards the right corner. Out to Merklin, free throw line extended. Bouncing back to Joyner, corner right, three-pointer well short. Rebound knocked out of bounds. It'll be last touched by Ney to Nebraska Wesleyan. A 4-4 score here in the first half. Don't forget, you can catch any of these broadcasts. They're on demand for you on YouTube. Search Elmhurst TV. ElmhurstBlueJays.com is the official athletic website of the Elmhurst College Athletic Program. Schedules, rosters, stories, and so much more available for you there to keep up with your favorite Blue Jay teams, whether it be women's basketball or not. Give a 3-second call. Another turnover for Nebraska Wesleyan. Enter Stephanie Mitchell, the sophomore out of Roscommon, Michigan. Joyner crossing over with the dribble towards the right elbow. Setting a screen for Rhodes in the corner. Back around it goes. And a lob pass from Monroe is taken away by Linus. Linus, wing left, picks up her dribble and wants some help. Very low scoring ball game, and that favors Nebraska Wesleyan. Prairie Wolves already with 5 turnovers here in the half. Foul against Lauren Rhodes, her first, team second. Substitution in the post. It's Elizabeth Carlson, whose shot is blocked, and Merklin saves it from falling over the baseline. Six minutes into the first half, Rhodes attempts to drive and takes the ball with her. A traveling violation. Eric Jensen wants to take a timeout. He was hoping for his team to push the basketball. And as the Prairie Wolves spend their first timeout, it is a full one. And we shall break as well. 4-4 the score in the first half. This is Blue Jay TV.
I wasn't sure getting out of high school if I wanted to bowl in college, but after I graduated high school, I knew that there wasn't any way I was gonna not be able to do it. So I'm glad that I came to Elmhurst because it gave me that chance. Last year was a good year, had the first winning record for the team. I really like being on the team. It brings a lot of people together and it makes it a lot easier to meet other people. We're with each other 24/7 on the weekends when we have tournaments and like 3 days a week for practice. Some of us work out together, go to dinner together. It's nice having those close friends to always fall back on if you need something, and they're always willing to help.
Tim Calderwood back with you from R.A. Fagnall Hall here on the campus of Elmhurst College. Women's basketball action on this final day of 2010. Do you have any fond memories of this 2010 season? Seems years go by quicker, don't they? Shea Rasmussen is trapped out of the timeout, and Rhodes will bail out the Prairie Wolves with a foul. And that is her second, the third on the Blue Jays. Reset the floor for you. Elmhurst with Merklin, Monroe, Joyner, Mitchell, and Rhodes, who stays in despite the 2 fouls. Nebraska Wesleyan with some foul trouble here early as well. Their starting point guard, Janelle Ball, is on the bench, as they have Emily Linus, Shea Rasmussen, Sadie Strubing, who is in the lane with a turnaround 5-foot J that is off the back iron. Also in is Molly Shanahan. And Hannah Marshall for the visitors this afternoon. Merklin wants the ball outside the paint. Nice spin move, switches hands and scoops it in with the left. Merklin started it with a solid move to beat her defender and then had to switch hands to drop in the layup off the glass. Elmhurst with the lead at 6-4. Rasmussen into the lane, lost it. Monroe ahead towards Rhodes to the basket, short on the layup. Have to finish. Now Rhodes trying to atone for the mistake. Went for the steal, but alertly, Hannah Marshall felt the pressure coming. Linus to the hole. And the score is tied at 6. Could be a tight contest here this afternoon. Megan Merklin outside the lane. Out to Joyner, wing left, who nearly lost as the Blue Jays reset. Strubing went for the steal. Mitchell is open in the lane. It's an offensive foul. Shea Rasmussen drawing the charge on Mitchell. Jordan Maisto and Megan Ney return for Elmhurst. 12:22 first half, tied at 6. I think talking about memories of 2010, certainly for Elmhurst and this women's basketball program, they will always remember the contest against Carthage last year. Boy, what a game that was here at R.A. Fagnall Hall as the jumper from Emily Linus is off the mark. Joyner racing ahead into the corner for Monroe. Open three-pointer off the front of the rim, and Maisto in the right place for the rebound. Ney attempts to drive. She'll instead opt for the 16-footer. And on the weak side of the floor, Shea Rasmussen controls the rebound. Elmhurst had taken the lead, looked like they were poised for an upset of the nationally ranked Lady Reds. And then just inside half court, a 40-footer at the buzzer provided Carthage with the victory. Strubing to the basket, off to the left. Joyner with a board on the strong side. Of course, the biggest memory perhaps for the Elmhurst women's basketball program is a program building victory over Carthage in the CCIW tournament to advance to the conference championship game for the first time in program history, where they then lost to Illinois Wesleyan. But those are the kind of things that you look to build on as a program, your kind of stepping stones along the way. Mallory Shanahan's foul is her first. At the line for the Blue Jays, Stephanie Mitchell, 2 shots. First free throws of the ball game as Mitchell converts. Mitchell is 9 of 15 at the line this year, 60%. Averaging 2.5 points per ball game for the 5'11" sophomore. And her second attempt is just like the first. An 8-6 advantage for Elmhurst. Jordan Wynant has entered for Nebraska Wesleyan. Wynant is on the right edge. Dribbling in is Katie Golden, and her 13-footer will rim out. Ball is out of bounds to the Blue Jays. Joyner easing it up the floor, using a screen from Ney towards the right corner for Maisto. Ney is in the lane, and a good job by Strubing, aiming for the steal. Saw the pass coming and knocked it out of bounds. Kim Schwartman inbounding for Elmhurst to Mitchell, wing left. In the lane, it is Schwartman, the 12-footer, no, but she follows her shot, controls the offensive rebound, and underneath the basket draws the foul. Schwartman is a sophomore out of Wheaton who played at Glenbard South High School. With a veteran move, knew her shot was off the mark, followed it towards the basket, controlled the rebound, and then drew the contact. Free throw is short for Schwartman, who has started a pair of games this season. 10 of 14 at the line, 71%. Averaging 5 points per ball game. A nice little punch off of the bench for the Blue Jays, who are currently leading 8-6 on the board. And it'll stay that way as Schwartman misses a pair. 10:35 first half. Strubing high into the left. Forced to back up by Mitchell. 15 to shoot. Off of a screen, Rasmussen tried to fire the three, was forced to hesitate. And we have an offensive foul underneath the basket. It is on Shady Strubing. Second on Strubing, so foul problems for the visitors here in the first half. Their starting point guard, Janelle Ball, is on the bench with 2, and now Sadie Strubing will join her. Although Ball is back in the ball game with those 2 fouls. Here is Ney forcing the new post player to back up. Cannot give up your position as a post player. And Elizabeth Carlson, who just entered the ball game, a sophomore out of Colorado, rather than holding her ground, shuffled her feet backwards. That's twofold problems. Number one, you're allowing the post player to get closer to the basket. And number two, if you're moving and there's contact, that's a foul against you. If you hold your ground and there's contact, it's likely going to be an offensive foul. Mitchell off the turnover, missed the shot, followed hers to the basket, contact as it's knocked out of bounds. Credit a block to Shea Rasmussen, the leading scorer for Nebraska Wesleyan at 17 points a game. 3 scorers in double figures for the Prairie Wolves, who are very balanced across the board. Because they play in an NAIA conference, for Nebraska Wesleyan to make the NCAA tournament in any sport, it has to come via Pool B. The NCAA tournament in Division III, 3 qualifiers, Pool A, Pool B, and Pool C. Wynant's off the mark, and ahead is Maisto. Talk about those in just a second. Schwartman up the left edge of the lane, well short, went for the rebound, it's still on the floor. Schwartman loose, away with it comes Carlson. Pool A is for conferences that have automatic bids. The CCIW is one of those. You win your conference tournament, you earn the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Pool C is the at-large bids. Pool B is for the schools that do not have an automatic bid. Katie Golden on the floor as her attempt soars out of bounds. So that is your crash course on NCAA Division III basketball and NCAA Division III in general for team sports, because football and soccer and volleyball are all the same way. We have a 30-second timeout for Nebraska Wesleyan on this New Year's Eve. You got big plans? I know I'm going to just be hanging out today. I'm enjoying some women's basketball first, that's for sure. Tomorrow, of course, my favorite thing is the Rose Bowl in the afternoon. Can't go wrong with any college football on New Year's Day, although it seems like now the bowl games are stretched out more. In fact, I think they go all the way until January 10th. I remember when New Year's Day used to have like 10 bowl games and you didn't leave your television to watch them. Well, it's not the case anymore, but anyhow. Whatever you have planned for tomorrow as well, hope you enjoy it with your family and friends, and we here at Blue Jay TV wish you the very best. for 2011. Are you into resolutions? If you make resolutions, I hope it lasts longer than a week, like mine usually do. My resolution is to not make a resolution this year. 8:50 to go, first half. Nebraska Wesleyan inbound in the basketball, having some problems looking for Golden, who chases it down in the middle of the Elmhurst College lettering and promptly throws it away. That will not make Eric Jensen happy out of a timeout. Nebraska Wesleyan looking to snap a 5-game losing streak. Their last win was in November. They have not won a game here in December. It was on November 27th, 68-61 over Chapman. Merklin cuts to the basket, fed perfectly by Ney. And Megan Merklin is on her way to the free throw line. Second leading scorer for the Blue Jays this season at 12 points per game out of Plainfield, Illinois. Follow the Blue Jays on Twitter. There's the address for you on the screen. Twitter.com/ElmhurstBlueJay. That's where you'll get all of the up-to-date results of Elmhurst College athletics and so much more. Megan Merklin, second on the team in free throw attempts with 24. Among the team leaders in percentage as well at 79%. With both free throws doubling up Nebraska Wesleyan 12-6 in a very low-scoring game. To the hole goes Shea Rasmussen, the leading scorer for Nebraska Wesleyan. Ends the run. It had been a while since Nebraska Wesleyan scored. How about a three on the left edge? The ball is loose. Elmhurst comes away. It is again Devin Vaughn with a hustle play for the Blue Jays. Ney backing up and drawing the contact. And that's what I was talking about moments ago in the post. Defensively, you need to stand your ground. Otherwise, if you're going backwards, well, Megan Ney is going to the free throw line. Ney with 2 points today, looking to add to that total. She has been to the free throw line more than any member on this Blue Jay squad. 27 of 37 on the year for 73%. Elmhurst as a squad, a 66% free throw shooting team. A number no doubt that Bethany Werner would like to see improve as the Blue Jays head into conference play. 14-8 after both free throws. Elmhurst is only 1-1 at home this season. This is just the third game of the season for the Blue Jays in front of the home crowd. And they played 8 of the first 10 games on the road. When you consider that their second game of the season was at home against Franklin, an overtime loss 72-70. They were then on the road until December 14th. So a long stretch for the Blue Jays, but with kind of a younger team, maybe not necessarily younger, that might not be the best word for it, but an experienced team with players looking to step into new roles. Megan Merklin and Megan Ney have been kind of developing their game, but it had always been the Lindsay Long show over the past couple of seasons, and now it is their turn as juniors to step in and take over the program, so they kind of give them an opportunity to step into those leading roles a bit during the non-conference season, and what better way to do it than on the road in a lot of hostile environments as Mallory Shanahan converts on the first free throw. They went down to St. Louis, played in the Washington University tournament. If you don't know, Wash U in St. Louis, the national champions last year. 61-36 victory over Elmhurst. They also played Franklin and lost here at home, who was in the NCAA tournament. Edgewood, a very improved team out of the Northern Athletics Conference. And then DePaul on the road as well. So some tough road games for the Blue Jays during their non-conference slate. Megan Ney in the lane, short. Offensive rebound. Little indecision, however, from Ney. When you find the basketball underneath, should just go back up with it. Mallory Shanahan alertly, with some help defense off of her mistake defensively, was able to sneak in and knock the basketball away. And Nebraska Wesleyan with an opportunity to whittle this lead down to 2, but other ideas for Meister with the steal, ahead to Merklin. Waiting, overcommitted was Mallory Shanahan, and Megan Merklin with the easy deuce. 16-10 with 6:45 to play. Shanahan high right, working around the perimeter for Linus. Now it's Marshall who pops out. Shanahan on the right baseline converts on the 18-footer. Shanahan is the third of those double-digit scorers for Nebraska Wesleyan. Eric Jensen wants his team to come out and press. They force the steal. It's a 3-on-1. To the basket goes Rasmussen for the easy layup. Off of the steal from Linus. And indeed, Nebraska Wesleyan has pushed themselves to within 2 points at 16-14. 6 minutes left in the first. Open is Vaughn. Wing right for three off the back iron. The rebound is taken away by Rasmussen, who I think if she pushed would have had an opportunity to take it all the way to the hole coast to coast. But she slowed it up as Eric Jensen advised her to do so. Shanahan up the right edge of the lane, throws it off the glass, rimming out, strong side is Merklin. Little too strong. And it's taken away again. For the tie, on the way to the hole is Linus. Vaughn attempts to interrupt, and a basket will even the score, and Tethany Warner is very upset. The Elmhurst head coach spending a timeout, the first of the half for the Blue Jays, as we are even at 16 aside with 5:15 to play here this afternoon. We step aside. You're watching Blue Jay TV.
We're actually really good this year. There's 23 of us on the team, so it's quite a large team. We were close friends. A lot of the teammates lived together with other teammates. In high school, I wasn't like the most organized person because sports were just kind of like a side note in high school. Here, you know, you have to really balance yourself. Division III, it's more academics first, softball second. So our coach really strives on the academic portion of the school. And I mean, just like yesterday, we had a game. I went to class and came late to the game instead, but the game was canceled, luckily. Like softball's really kind of taught me some organization skills, I guess.
Tethany Warner finishing up the timeout by talking to her 5 players on the floor. With the score even at 16 aside. I'm Tim Calderwood here on Blue Jay TV. Yes, that is me in the orange and black, dressed like a pumpkin. No, it's not Halloween, it is New Year's here on Blue Jay TV. Let's take a look at some of the numbers in the contest thus far. Elmhurst shooting just 29% in the game, 5 of 17, and that includes an 0 of 6 mark from three-point range. That will not get it done. They continue to rotate around the arc as Nebraska Wesleyan switches to a 2-3 zone, and an entry pass into the post is stolen by Golden in the teeth of the zone. Nebraska Wesleyan shooting 37%, 7 of 19 here in the first half. They've only attempted 1 3-pointer and now 2 for the lead. Shanahan out to the right. 9 turnovers for Nebraska Wesleyan, after they turned it over 29 times in the loss to Benedictine on Wednesday. 11 turnovers for the Blue Jays. Elmhurst does own a 16-10 advantage on the glass. And Lauren Rhodes heading to the free throw line after the first foul against Emily Linus. 1-and-1 for Rhodes. Off the back iron, chases the shot, attempting to keep it alive, and will reach in. That is troublesome, because for Rhodes, foul number 3. And that promptly means a spot on the bench next to Tethany Warner, I would imagine, although Elmhurst was late to get the sub to the table. Megan Fitz, freshman out of Byron, Illinois, on the floor for the Blue Jays currently as well. Fitz hounding Shanahan, dribbling into the lane. Fakes left, comes back to the right, tries the 12-footer off to the right. Good job by Fitz, forcing Shanahan to change directions. Nearing 4 minutes to play in this first half. All knotted up at 16. A traveling violation for Rhodes. So moments after recording her 3rd foul, Rhodes travels for the 12th Elmhurst turnover of the half. And entering the ball game is Jordan Maisto to take her slot. Linus easing the ball up the floor towards the right corner. A double team as Rasmussen is surrounded. That means somebody's open. That someone is Golden on the right baseline. The 17-footer is long. And here comes Elmhurst. Maisto running the point, bouncing to Monroe. Monroe with a first attempt blocked by Marshall. Monroe went to the basket for the second try. And Marshall, who recorded the block on attempt number 1, is charged with the foul on attempt number 2. 9 free throws attempted here in the half for the Blue Jays. Kelsey Monroe will add to that ledger. A 58% free throw shooter this season, 7 of 12. Monroe just under double digits, 9.3 points per ball game, the third leading scorer for the Blue Jays. Fourth-year player for head coach Tethany Warner. Hits them both. And Elmhurst once again has the lead. 18-16 is the score. With Linus directing traffic, picking up her dribble. The count is on. Shanahan finds herself open after Joyner misses on the steal. That's always the danger on a steal attempt. You really leave yourself out there. If you don't record the steal, it's going to lead to a very easy chance, which Shanahan was able to do, hitting the 15-footer. Here's a turnover. Nebraska Wesleyan for the lead. Rasmussen too strong, defended perfectly by Rashida Joyner, who did not give up her ground in the transition game. Kelsey Monroe, left edge three-pointer, follows her shot, offensive rebound. Several times today we've seen the Blue Jays know their shots are off the mark and follow the shot to get into position. If you're Nebraska Wesleyan, you need to do a much better job of blocking out to avoid that. 2 shots upcoming for Kelsey Monroe, who hit a pair moments ago. 3 of 3 from the line. Nebraska Wesleyan, some pretty big post players. They've been out rebounding their opponents by almost 2 rebounds per game this season, but have struggled here this afternoon. Shanahan reels in the rebound off the missed free throw. Into the post it goes. Golden off the glass and one. A bounce pass from Marshall to Golden in the lane. And now Golden will have an opportunity to pad the lead, as it is 20-19, Nebraska Wesleyan. Make it 21-19 off of the three-point play. It's kind of a late foul as well. Monroe in the right corner to the lane, bouncing for Maisto. With those high socks into the lane on the left edge. Maisto's floating 5-footer is short, but an offensive rebound rims out. Shanahan surrounded, leading to the break. An odd player rush, 3-on-2. Good transition offense. Linus leads Marshall, whose left baseline jumper from 15 is short. And away comes Elmhurst looking to press. And I've said more than once, this pace favors the Blue Jays. Megan Merklin at the right turn, three-pointer no, but an offensive rebound by Fitz. And Maisto has it poked away by Rasmussen. Megan Ney will return for the Blue Jays, while Nebraska Wesleyan bringing in Candace Townley for the first time. Townley has not scored this year, the sophomore out of Thornton, Colorado. We've got a timeout for Elmhurst. It is a full timeout, and as such we break. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the half. Elmhurst trailing Nebraska Wesleyan 21-19. This is Blue Jay TV.
With athletics in school, it's just, with me, I did it all throughout high school, so I needed to do sports in order to stay focused. I run cross country in the fall and track in the spring. I was injured my freshman year and I just felt like so off track. It didn't feel natural. Like, I think a lot of the students coming from high school and coming to D3, it's like what they need to stay focused. I mean, if you could do it in high school, you could do it here. The bigger schools, you don't have the coach time like you do here. You can just join the team and just have fun. We actually just went to Tennessee for a spring break trip, so it was different. It was a lot of fun being able to travel. We had 2 first-place finishes, so it was kind of impressive. It's nice having like that other family aside from like, you know, being at home because you're with them all the time. Don't be afraid to go out there and try new things.
Almost half of the points for Elmhurst in this opening 20 minutes of play have come from the free throw line. Elmhurst trailing on the board 21-19, and 9 of their 19 points have come from the line. Elmhurst has been to the line 13 times here in the first half. That's not usually a good thing in terms of having almost half of your scoring coming from the line. Elmhurst needs to find a way to start executing. They are struggling from the floor, shooting just 23% here in the half. With the basketball out of the timeout, under 2 minutes to play. Merklin, left baseline, bouncing for Ney, back out to Monroe. Blue Jays reset with 10 to shoot. Bouncing into the left corner against the zone. Monroe's open 3 off the mark, but Merklin chasing down the rebound and saving it with a behind-the-back tap towards Nikki Schaefer, who has entered. Here is Merklin, shy of the left elbow from 14. A good box out underneath by Shanahan. Linus into the lane for Strubing with a pair of fouls. Strubing, who led Nebraska Wesleyan in scoring in the loss to Benedictine on Wednesday, will head to the free throw line after Kelsey Monroe charged with foul number 1. Sadie Strubing with 2 points. 1-1, first free throw good. One more upcoming for Strubing, who on the season is just a 48% free throw shooter, but converts on 2 here. It is now a 4-point advantage for the visitors at 23-19. And Elmhurst is really struggling against the zone defense. The zone will give you some open looks from the outside, but the way to go at it is to attack the openings in the middle and work on your 12 to 15 footers. Not turning it over. Under a minute in the first half. Rasmussen down the center of the lane, bouncing right corner for Linus. Three-pointer is an air ball. And a foul on the rebound, with Townley knocking down the Blue Jays. And since it was on the rebound, it is the 10th foul against Nebraska Wesleyan. Free throws upcoming for the Blue Jays. The honors belong to Nikki Schaefer, who has not been to the line this year. Schaefer, a 5'10" freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida. Converting on the first free throw. We're having some Florida-like weather today. Temperatures in the 50s. Stepped outside this morning on my way here and I wondered, is it December 31st or is it March 31st? The free throw is good. Is there 31 days in March? Or does March have 30 days? I think March has 30 days. Well, close enough. It's a leap year in my book. No, there are 31 in March. Producer-director Glenn confirms. All right. I need to not doubt myself. Linus nearly loses the basketball as Maisto in her back pocket. 2-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. 10 to shoot for Nebraska Wesleyan. Linus around a screen into the right corner, and an offensive foul. A moving screen from Mallory Shanahan. That would explain how Linus found herself so wide open. Six and 7/10 to go. The officials are going to talk here about whether there will be free throws or not. They were lining up as though there may be free throws, but if it's an offensive foul, there shouldn't be. Only on a rebound would there be a free throw, and indeed, after the conversation between the officiating crew today, they will confirm Elmhurst basketball. So the Blue Jays have an opportunity to tie or take the lead heading to the locker room. Maisto crosses the center line. A top for Merklin, three-pointer for the lead, rims out. And at the half, it is Nebraska Wesleyan 23 and Elmhurst 21. We will break, come back with a look at the CCIW. We'll talk a little bit about the other sports around Elmhurst College, and of course we'll have some first half statistics for you as well. Halftime here in Elmhurst. Nebraska Wesleyan 23, Elmhurst 21. This is Blue Jay TV.
Had a great experience at Elmhurst. I'm obviously involved with the volleyball program. We're like sisters. It was instant friends as soon as I came here. Every year the seniors get to pick places where we want to go for a tournament. So we've been to California, Colorado, Boston, and it's just been a fun experience because not only do we play volleyball, we also get to do touristy types of things. I would say we're pretty close because we practice 5 days a week for 2.5 hours. We're lifting, we're doing bonding things, and we're traveling on the weekends. So you're pretty much with these girls for 3 months every single day for hours. So we're all pretty close.
I've had a great experience at Elmhurst, I really have. I think that the college is all about making the individual well-rounded, and I do think that I have grown up a lot since I've been at college. I've played soccer and I'm in the nursing program. Kind of everything just fell together. The team was just so nice and welcome. My freshman year we went to Brazil for preseason, and that was the coolest thing ever. So it was just our team. We stayed at this big soccer resort, and there was all these fields and all these little kids playing, and then we just had our own field, and we played against different Brazilian teams. It's been great, and I've made so many new friends. The soccer aspect, I think that I've kind of got a family there, and I just love it.
I wasn't sure getting out of high school if I wanted to bowl in college, but after I graduated high school, I knew that there wasn't any way I was gonna not be able to do it. So I'm glad that I came to Elmhurst because it gave me that chance. Last year was a good year, had the first winning record for the team. I really like being on the team. It brings a lot of people together, and it makes it a lot easier to meet other people. We're with each other 24/7 on the weekends when we have tournaments, and 3 days a week for practice. Some of us work out together, go to dinner together. It's nice having those close friends to always fall back on if you need something, and they're always willing to help.
Halftime in Elmhurst. The host Blue Jays trailing Nebraska Wesleyan, the visitors, by the score of 23-21 at the intermission. I'm Tim Calderwood with you. I think one of the things you're seeing here in the first half, Elmhurst kind of showing some effects a little bit of the layoff. The Blue Jays have not played since December 18th. Meanwhile, Nebraska Wesleyan had a similar layoff, but the Prairie Wolves played on Wednesday, so that's given them that one kind of buffer game to regroup, get into their system a little bit more before the contest here today. Let's take a look at the CCIW standings entering play on this final day of 2010. Carthage 9-2, Milliken 8-3, Illinois Wesleyan 7-3, Wheaton 5-3, North Park a much improved 6-5. Elmhurst entering play today 4-6, as we talked about. Augustana 4-7, and North Central 3-7. So those are the standings in the CCIW entering play today, with the first 6 teams in the conference all owning winning records. There are a few other games today. Dominican is at North Central. A little bit later, their tip-off will be coming here in about 10 minutes or so. They tip off at 2 o'clock on this New Year's Eve. Wheaton is at Taylor in Indiana, and Illinois Wesleyan traveling out east for this New Year's. They've got a pretty difficult test in facing nationally ranked Kane University. One of the things that Illinois Wesleyan has done, we talked a little bit about in the case of Elmhurst, when your program starts winning, you try to find new things to strive to and challenge yourself a little bit. Well, in the case of Illinois Wesleyan, one of the things that they have done is beefed up their schedule every year, playing one of the toughest schedules in the nation, and no exception tonight as they will face Kane University on the heels of a 75-71 win over Baruch yesterday, who was also a pretty good program out east. Wheaton took care of St. Mary Woods 93-59. CCIW schedule opens on Tuesday. Milliken will be here at R.A. Faginal Hall. Augustana will travel to North Park as a couple of the games around the conference on Tuesday during the CCIW opener. So those are the standings around the CCIW. We'll break again in a few moments. We'll come back and talk about some of the other Elmhurst College athletics as the winter sports heating up like the weather outside. This is Blue Jay TV.
Playing college football 4 years is very tough, but it's also very, very rewarding. And I think this past year is just a tribute to the hard work that I put in these past 3 years, and the team did. I mean, we won the most football games since 1985. That was probably the biggest highlight of my 4 years here. We had our ups and we had our downs, and I think we just stayed together through those and persevered together. Well, my professional goal is to teach and coach. You know, I definitely want to coach football. I got the experience from the 4 years at Elmhurst, which is going to be very beneficial for coaching experience in the future.
Halftime at R.A. Faginal Hall on the campus of Elmhurst College in Elmhurst, Illinois. So glad you're with us on this New Year's Eve as the Blue Jays trailing Nebraska Wesleyan University in women's basketball action today by the score of 23-21. I'm Tim Calderwood with you. The Blue Jays with a tough first half, to say the least, and what was a real defensive battle for each of these teams. We'll run down some numbers for you in mere moments. First, however, I wanted to spend some time going through the Elmhurst College Athletic website, elmhurstbluejays.com, and talking to you about some of the other action around the world of Blue Jay athletics. We begin with the men's basketball team, who yesterday was defeated in a championship game of the Blue Jay Classic, falling 65-56 to Benedictine University, as Elmhurst finishes 5-6 in the non-conference portion of their schedule. The Blue Jays led 15-5 at the midway point of the first half, and then went the final 10 minutes of the half without a bucket, allowing Benedictine to grab a 23-20 lead at the break. They led by as many as 14 points in the contest. Elmhurst rallied late, cutting the lead down to 6, but could not convert as Benedictine finished the game off at the free throw line. 11 points for Zach Boyd, Mike McCurdy with 8 for Elmhurst, Nate Green with 17, Cam Snelling with 10 points for Benedictine, as they had 4 players in double figures. That was after the Blue Jays upended DePauw 61-59 in the opener of that Blue Jay Classic. Meanwhile, the wrestling team, well, they are unbeaten at the Gator Duels, 3-0, ranked 28th in the latest Division III wrestling poll. They upset Johnson and Wales University 42-12, knocked off Simpson 41-9, and then knocked off Luther 22-15. So some very strong showings for the Blue Jays in their 3 dual meets down in Florida. And while I am jealous of Elmhurst for being down in Florida, I can tell you that I am very pleased about the weather here in Chicagoland currently as well. Under a minute before we begin the second half of play, Elmhurst trailing on the board by the score of 23-21. And well, one of the biggest reasons for that, the shooting percentage. Just 5 of 25 in the first half for Elmhurst. Nebraska Wesleyan 9 of 27, 33%. 11 of the 21 points for the Blue Jays coming from the free throw line. That means more than half of the points for the Blue Jays have come from the line. Elmhurst with a convincing 26-14 edge on the glass, including 11 offensive rebounds. But get this, it has led to just 5 second chance points. Elmhurst turned it over 14 times in the half. Nebraska Wesleyan turned it over 10 times in a half that featured 5 ties and a pair of lead changes. Elmhurst will begin with the basketball here in the second half, trailing 23-21. Megan Ney in the lane. Missed the short jumper. The rebound is on the floor and controlled by the Prairie Wolves. On the floor for Elmhurst, Megan Merklin, Megan Ney, Kelsey Monroe, Jordan Maisto, and Kim Schwartman. So a change for the Blue Jays to begin the second half. Strubing turning around, the 8-footer rims off to the left for Nebraska Wesleyan. The Prairie Wolves with Shea Rasmussen, Janelle Ball, Katie Golden, Mallory Shanahan, and Sadie Strubing. It is the starting 5. 3-second call against Megan Ney, resulting in the 15th turnover of the game for the Blue Jays. So Elmhurst, while they've been doing a solid job on the rebounding, they need to make sure that they can convert on those second chance opportunities. And they also need to find a way to start scoring off of turnovers. Just 8 points off of 10 Nebraska Wesleyan turnovers. Meanwhile, if you're Nebraska Wesleyan, they need to convert on the Elmhurst turnovers. Only 6 points off of the 14 Blue Jay turnovers. Look for another defensive half here in the second. Neither team made a three-pointer in the opening 20. Nebraska Wesleyan 0 of 3, Elmhurst 0 of 10. Driving baseline is Ball. Clearing out for Rasmussen, whose 16-footer won't fall, but the rebound for Strubing towards the basket and home. A 4-point Nebraska Wesleyan lead, matching their largest of the game. They led by 4 just over a minute into the contest at 6-2, and they now lead 25-21 here early in the second. Schwartman, corner right, attempts to guide it towards the post, and it's kicked away, and a beauty by Mallory Shanahan. Among the rebounding leaders in the half, 4 each for Jordan Maisto, Kelsey Monroe, and Megan Merklin. Rashida Joyner off the bench with 5 for Elmhurst. Leading scorer at 6 points, 2 Nebraska Wesleyan players with 6. That being Shea Rasmussen and Mallory Shanahan. And 6 points for Megan Merklin to lead Elmhurst. Schwartman's pass is knocked away, gobbled up by Ball. Ball towards the left corner. Lobbing, knocked out of bounds, last touch by Strubing. Ball played only 7 minutes in the first half. The point guard hit with 2 fouls. She has 2, Mallory Shanahan 3. And Sadie Strubing with 2 for Nebraska Wesleyan. They committed 12 first half fouls. Meanwhile, Lauren Rhodes, the only Elmhurst player in any foul trouble, with 3. Maisto dribbling towards the elbow. Knocked out of bounds, staying with Elmhurst. Officials for this contest, Greg Owens, Paul Firking, and Abby Bickle. Two minutes into the half, Elmhurst has yet to score here in the second. I just told you, talking about the men's team, how a long field goal drought was their downfall in yesterday's loss to Benedictine. Megan Ney is pushed from behind. It is the second foul against Katie Golden. Ney having some problems inbounding the basketball, as it knocked away, and Strubing controls. Help coming from behind as it's knocked away by Schwartman. There's a reason why she's on the floor to start the second half. Working her way around Shanahan, but directly underneath the basket. Threw it up, no, but a second chance bucket for Megan Ney. And again, second chance points are going to be huge for the Blue Jays here if they want to avoid the defeat at home. Nebraska Wesleyan has dropped 5 in a row after opening the season 5-0. They're 5-5. Elmhurst is 4-6. Strubing follows her own miss. It's 27-23. Blue Jays looking to lose back-to-back games for the second time this year. They lost 3 in a row to open the season, but haven't lost consecutive games since. Megan Ney, wide of the right elbow. The 16-footer short, but an offensive rebound by Schwartman, no. On attempt number 2, and the rebound is tied up. Good job by Kelsey Monroe and Kim Schwartman to surround Mallory Shanahan and force the jump ball. The arrow resides with Nebraska Wesleyan as Shanahan heads to the bench. 16:42 to go in the ball game. Prairie Wolves by 4, 27-23. Janelle Ball dribbling towards the right corner. Lobbing into the paint. Golden hooping a foul. It is the second foul on Kelsey Monroe as Rashida Joyner will enter the contest. Katie Golden, one of the seniors on this Nebraska Wesleyan team, converts on the free throw. And it is a 7-point lead for the visitors, 30-23. Wow. Solid start to the half for Nebraska Wesleyan. Strubing saw the pass, reached her arm in, posted the steal, let Ney blow by her, and then finished what she started. A 9-point advantage, 32-23. And a hold foul underneath. Tethany Werner may need to think about taking a timeout here shortly if the Blue Jays cannot start to figure it out. Megan Ney to the bench. Stephanie Mitchell entering. And Megan Merklin inbounding for the Blue Jays, baseline left. Merklin posting, calling for the basketball, and a hesitation by Schwertman. (32-23), Nebraska Wesleyan with the advantage. And they turn it over for the 11th time. Monroe high left for Mitchell on the left wing. Couple of dribbles with Marshall on her defensively. Back out to Monroe, who struts her way around the arc. 10 to shoot. Into the right corner, open look for Schwertman. Three-pointer no. Blue Jay woes from three-point land continue, but Merklin with the offensive rebound will head to the free throw line after the foul charged to Elizabeth Carlson, her first. Megan Merklin shooting two. Blue Jays were frequenters of the foul line in the first half. 15 trips, 11 of 15. Megan Merklin was there twice in a perfect 2 of 2, now 3 of 3 with one more upcoming. Plenty of subs for Eric Jensen. Two free throws for Merklin. She now has 8 points in the contest to lead the Blue Jays. And it is a 7-point lead. Rasmussen, court-wide pass towards Carlson. Rasmussen leaning in, may have been partially blocked by Monroe. Fans of the visitors were looking for a foul. And here comes Elmhurst, a big jumper for Nikki Schaefer. Schaefer with some extended minutes for the Blue Jays. A big basket to whittle that lead down to 5. 32-27. 14:40 to play. And Merklin takes it away from Carlson. A good job fronting defensively. Merklin looking for help and will hand it to Joyner. Joyner, Merklin, Monroe, Mitchell, and Schaefer, the 5 for the Blue Jays as Nebraska Wesleyan switches back to the zone defense. Something we haven't seen. There's the attacks to the opening, and Kelsey Monroe will head to the line. Attack the open spaces in quick, crisp passes. That's the way to beat the zone. It'll lead to some open looks very quickly as Kelsey Monroe is on her way to the line. 3 of 4 in the first half. No good on the first attempt. Shanahan and Golden return. Joining Marshall, Strubing, and Rasmussen as the 5 for third-year head coach Eric Jensen. Monroe bending at the knees, and the second free throw drops in. 32-28, 4-point edge for the visitors. Nebraska Wesleyan is in the black. Elmhurst is in the blue here on Blue Jay TV. Our next broadcast on Blue Jay TV will be the women on Tuesday, the CCIW opener. Monroe with a steal to Joyner, spinning in the lane, cannot convert, but Monroe keeps it alive. Here's an open look at a 3 from Schaefer, off the mark, but an offensive rebound. 11 offensive rebounds in the first half for the Blue Jays. Need to start turning them into points. They'll patiently work it around the arc in the zone. Down low to Merklin, it's blocked by Golden. And we have an official's timeout as Sadie Strubing is holding her head. Shaking it off as Janelle Ball enters. Rasmussen returning as well, and Strubing will head to the bench. Nebraska Wesleyan won only 7 games last year, but started with 5 straight wins this season. They lead on the road, looking to snap a 5-game losing streak and win their 6th of the year here on this New Year's Eve. Shot clock at 5. Merklin has it swatted again by Golden. And now Golden is knocked to the floor. And the foul is on Megan Merklin, her second. Just the second on the Blue Jays in this second half with 13-14 remaining. Elmhurst continuing to trail. They have fallen behind by as many as 9 here in the second half after a solid start for Nebraska Wesleyan out of the locker room. A foul away from the basketball in the post. Merklin again, 3rd foul. And now she heads to the bench with C.J. Harris checking in for the first time. Senior out of Calumet City. Ball rotating left towards Linus, and a hold is called. That'll be 3 straight fouls against Elmhurst. Their team foul count is now up to 4. C.J. Harris replaced Megan Merklin, who had been whistled for 2 in a row, and Harris quickly called for a hold. And how about another whistle against Elmhurst? 4 straight. Stephanie Mitchell. Janelle Ball pushing towards the right corner. Joyner on her defensively, bouncing up high for Linus, setting a screen. Back towards the open Shanahan. The 19-footer with her foot on the line. Rims out. Shanahan in the post, off of the feed from Golden, who missed on the offensive rebound. It is tapped out towards Monroe. 3-on-2 if the Blue Jays want it. Monroe onto the edge, and it is knocked out of bounds. Nikki Schaefer was unable to save it in transition along the baseline. Ball towards the right baseline. Picks up her dribble, needs some help. Rasmussen cut into the hole with a finish. And a timeout for Nebraska Wesleyan. 34-28 with 12:11 remaining. It is a 30-second timeout. We will keep it here during this pause in the action on Blue Jay TV. Started to tell you about our next broadcast. Let's bring them up for you. Our next broadcast here on Blue Jay TV will again involve the Elmhurst College women. It'll be on Tuesday night, 7:30 start. That is against Millikan University here on Blue Jay TV. We'll follow that up on Wednesday with the men against Millikan, also at 7:30, as the Blue Jay men and women begin the CCIW portion of their schedule. A quick timeout for Eric Jensen. Perhaps trying to set something up here defensively. They have been in a zone for the first couple of minutes here of late. See if they change it up at all. They're kind of stretching it out to a trapping zone, which Elmhurst attacks and leads to an easy layup. There's a couple of ways you can run the 2-3. You can run the straight zone, and then you can run the trapping zone. The trapping zone will lead to some huge openings, but can also create turnovers. And a carry for Janelle Ball. Sadie Strubing returning for Nebraska Wesleyan after leaving moments ago with a slight injury. She is all right. Joyner, Monroe, Harris, Ney, and Schaefer for the Blue Jays. It is Schaefer at the right turn, dumping for Monroe. Down the center of the lane, back out to Joyner with 13 to shoot. Joyner works her way to the left elbow and clears it out. Shot clock is down to 8. Schaefer tried to lob for Harris. It was tapped away and controlled by Nebraska Wesleyan. Shanahan with a steal. For the Prairie Wolves, Shanahan, Ball, Linus, and a traveling violation on Ball. Strubing and Rasmussen. Those are the 5 for the visitors, who have controlled the majority of this second half, leading by as many as 9 and currently up by 4. Big possession here for Elmhurst offensively. Megan Ney inside the lane. The 12-footer won't go, but an offensive rebound from Harris. Tosses it back up and through. C.J. Harris, a little bit of a catalyst for the Blue Jays off the bench. Four points already. Shanahan is open, outside the paint on the left edge, burying the 6-footer. 36-32. Nebraska Wesleyan ran a man defense moments ago, and now they will switch back to the standard 2-3. Stretch it out a little bit, but not to the trapping 2-3 that we saw earlier. Joyner with 2 defenders collapsing in, finds the open Schaefer, who hits the 17-footer. Nikki Schaefer with some points for the Blue Jays today as well. 6 points off of the bench, in fact, and another carry. Tethany Werner sparing no expense today, using a whole lot of players on her roster. In fact, of the players on the Elmhurst roster, only 2 have not taken to the floor tonight. Substitutions to mix things up here with 9:45 to play. Elmhurst can tie it with a deuce and take the lead with a triple. Monroe patiently working, attacking into the corner for Maisto. Thought about the 3, wisely backs it up instead. Here's Harris, swatted away. Harris with the follow to Merklin, but right baseline for the tie, no, but Megan Ney is there. Fool me once, strike 2. Fool me twice, strike 3. To quote the great Michael Scott, 3 offensive chances for the Blue Jays, and they finally convert on the bucket. Those second chance points are beginning to pile up for Elmhurst here in the half. Tied up at 36 as we near 9 minutes to go. Shanahan driving the baseline right between 2 defenders up and in. And really 3 when you consider that the baseline was a defender as well. Back in front for Nebraska Wesleyan at 38-36. Ney in the lane, lost it. It's on the floor. A jump ball is called. It'll stay with Elmhurst. Blue Jays still have not made a three-pointer today. 0 of 12. A combined 0 of 15 in the game as Nebraska Wesleyan is yet to hit from bonus distance, 0 for 3. But they've not attempted a shot here in the second half. Elmhurst doing a little bit of a better job working on trying to attack the openings and get the ball inside. Referee wants to make sure that Nikki Schaefer checks in. They say she didn't go all the way to the scorer's table. The officials will continue to talk it over here. Jordan Maisto into the lane. Out to Merklin on the right edge. Shot clock is under 10. Maisto down the center of the lane with the layup. Scoops it in. Second bucket of the game for Jordan Maisto. Again ties it at 38. Golden between the rings throws it away. Rasmussen lost her footing on the attempted cut to the basket. Just kind of another note about Nebraska Wesleyan basketball that you followers of the CCIW may know. On the men's basketball side of things, as Megan Nay's 16-footer as well short. North Central's current men's coach, Todd Reardon, was the head coach for a long time at Nebraska Wesleyan on the men's side. Counted in a foul for Rasmussen. In fact, he had the Prairie Wolves in the national championship game, losing late in the 90s to Illinois Wesleyan University. Free throw upcoming for Shea Rasmussen. Hasn't been there today. 89% shooter on the season. 42 of 47. We talked about the Blue Jays and how their free throw shooting needed to improve a little bit. Well, Nebraska Wesleyan's pretty darn good. 72% shooter as a team from the line. And they don't have a three-point lead thanks to Rasmussen, who exits. Harris spotting up, corner right. Foot was on the line, 19-footer. High arcing rebound on the weak side of the floor. Reeled in by Hannah Marshall. 7:35 to go. Ali Stadahar has entered for the first time today for Eric Jensen's squad. And that was a quick visit as Stadahar heads back to the bench. Kim Schwartman returning for Elmhurst. Mallory Shanahan checking in again as well for Nebraska Wesleyan, who looks to build on a three-point lead with 7:25 to play. Rasmussen picks up her dribble. Schwartman is there. Schwartman with the steal and knocked to the floor. It is on Mallory Shanahan, and that is her fourth. Shanahan immediately heading back to the bench with Katie Golden taking her place. That is a big loss for Nebraska Wesleyan with 7:20 to go in the ball game. Shanahan with 10 points today, one of 3 Nebraska Wesleyan players in double figures. A 3 would tie for the Blue Jays, but they have not made a three-pointer yet today. They try to target Merklin in the post and couldn't get it over the top of Strubing and her 5'11" frame. Rasmussen high left and a whistle underneath. Illegal screen and offensive foul to Strubing. And now the foul's beginning to mount for Nebraska Wesleyan as Strubing will need to depart because that is her fourth. Re-enter Elizabeth Carlson. .640 to play. Dribbling to the left edge, Schaefer, 19-footer now with a foot on the line, and Schaefer attempting to control the rebound, steps in and commits a foul. Now that is the 7th on the Blue Jays. Bonus time for the Prairie Wolves. Janelle Ball stepping to the line. Has not scored in the game today. 3 of 5 at the line this season, 1-1, and will not have a second. Rebound to Schaefer. Schwartman towards the corner. Onto the left edge for Schaefer again, looking to lob. Ney is posting, wanting the basketball. Ney finally receives it. Good bounce pass towards Schwartman around the zone. Ney with a second opportunity. Nope. High off of the glass and onto the weak side for Golden. 6 minutes to play. 41-38 Nebraska Wesleyan. Cutting towards the basket. Too long for Hannah Marshall. Right idea, good play call. But a little bit too much on the pass from Golden. Schaefer high right. Out towards Schwartman. Nebraska Wesleyan bench coming to life, chanting defense. Shot clock down to 8. Merklin picks up her dribble, needs some help. Schaefer for 3, off the mark. 0-14 for the Blue Jays from three-point land. Marshall into the post, looking for Carlson, and it's knocked out of bounds. Kelsey Monroe returns, taking the place of Schaefer on the floor. Golden all alone in the lane, forced to go to her left by the defense from Ney, and as a result, couldn't convert. 5 minutes to play. Kelsey Monroe for the tie. No. Another miss from three-point land for the Blue Jays. My goodness. Neither team with a three-pointer in the game. Cannot tell you the last time I've ever seen that happen. It is on the floor as Carlson lost the basketball, still free, and finally collected by the Blue Jays. 2-on-1, wide open is Schwartman, underneath, off the fade from Ney. And Elmhurst is now within a point. 41-40. Now the Blue Jay bench starting to chant defense. Golden pops out with 10 to shoot. Corner right, leaves it for Marshall. Driving the baseline, 4 to shoot. Golden cuts to the basket, it is thrown away, and a shot clock violation. Janelle Ball chased it down, but not nearly in time to throw up a shot. 2 players with 4 fouls return. Perhaps one of the biggest reasons why Nebraska Wesleyan had been struggling on offense. The absence of Mallory Shanahan and Sadie Strubing. We have a timeout on the floor for Nebraska Wesleyan. The visitors leading by 1 at 41-40 with less than 4 minutes to play here today. We step aside. This is Blue Jay TV.
With athletics in school, it's just, with me, I did it all throughout high school, so I needed to do sports in order to stay focused. I run cross country in the fall and track in the spring. I was injured my freshman year and I just felt like so off track. It didn't feel natural. Like I think a lot of the students coming from high school and coming to D3, it's like what they need to stay focused. I mean, if you could do it in high school, you could do it here. The bigger schools, you don't have the coach time like you do here. You can just join the team and just have fun. We actually just went to Tennessee for a spring break trip, so it was different. It was a lot of fun being able to travel. We had 2 first-place finishes, so it was kind of impressive. It's nice having like that other family aside from like, you know, being at home because you're with them all the time. Don't be afraid to go out there and try new things.
Well, we are without a three-pointer in the game, and yet Elmhurst finds themselves trailing by just a point at 41-40. I'm Tim Calderwood with you on Blue Jay TV. Heading into the final moments of the contest with 3:52 to play. Elmhurst with the basketball. They have been down by as many as 9 here in the second half and are looking to capture the lead for the first time since that first half. Megan Nay's attempt from 7 feet away, a little too strong, and Shanahan controls. Nebraska Wesleyan's offense has been a bit out of sync with a pair of players on the floor with 4 fouls. They had to see the bench for a while. A block from behind by Megan Nay. Perfect time to step up. Players I speak of, Sadie Strubing and Mallory Shanahan, missed a couple of minutes but are back on the floor. Another three-pointer from the corner for the lead. Fails to fall through. And the three-point shooting woes continue. And not just the three-point shooting woes, but the shooting woes in general for the Blue Jays. Elmhurst is shooting just 25% from the floor. But a turnover will again give it to the Blue Jays with an opportunity to take the lead once more. They've trailed the entire second half. We're down by 2 at the break at 23-21. Megan Nay for the lead. In and out. Cannot get a better look. Janelle Ball in front of the Nebraska Wesleyan bench. Down to 2.5 minutes remaining in regulation. Golden into the lane and knocked away. Give you a reset with 2:22 to play. Nebraska Wesleyan with 2 timeouts left, a 30 and a full. Elmhurst with 4 timeouts remaining. 6 fouls against Nebraska Wesleyan in this half. The next one will put the Blue Jays at the line. 8 for Elmhurst. Has Nebraska Wesleyan in the bonus, which Mallory Shanahan is shooting presently. Possession arrow is with the visitors. Shanahan with a pair of free throws. It remains a 1-possession game at 43-40. Nebraska Wesleyan was defeated 55-49 on Wednesday here in Chicagoland at Benedictine University. Another low-scoring game, the way that the Prairie Wolves like it. Kelsey Monroe, a mid-range jumper is good from 16. Good ball rotation, attacking the opening. Strubing, left elbow. Up high for Rasmussen. Down to Strubing again. Got the basket, but before the basket, a travel. Nebraska Wesleyan's bench was ready to come to life, potentially sensing an and one. Eric Jensen is not a happy camper. And the lead continues to hold at 1 for the Prairie Wolves, 43-42. Baseline for Merklin, off the glass and in, an adjusted shot. And Megan Merklin puts Elmhurst ahead for the first time in the second half with 1:25 to play. 44-43. Strubing up the right edge, off the glass and in over Nay. Back and forth we go. Entertaining game on this New Year's Eve. Nay from Merklin blocked, but Golden got a piece of the arm as well. And for Katie Golden, it is now her 4th foul. So the 3 leading scorers for Nebraska Wesleyan today all have 4 fouls. Megan Nay's free throw for the tie, long. And one more upcoming. The junior 2 of 3 today and now 2 of 4. Needed to hit 1 to tie the game. And we reach 1 minute remaining. A timeout for Nebraska Wesleyan. A full timeout. With less than a minute to play in Elmhurst. Nebraska Wesleyan with possession by a point, 45-44 as we break. This is Blue Jay TV.
It's been great. I've been able to achieve some of my goals I've set for myself, and I guess coming to a smaller school in wrestling, I got to be able to start right away and wrestle every year so far. Coming here and be able to compete right away is great. Since coming here in wrestling, I'm a 3-time All-American. I won a national championship this year, went undefeated. 2-time conference champion, conference outstanding wrestler this year. Me and Coach Marinette are pretty close. I go in there all the time and talk to him, not just about wrestling. And since coming here, I've been able to relate closer to my team and the coaches and stuff.
Under a minute remaining in Elmhurst on this New Year's Eve. I'm Tim Calderwood with you on Blue Jay TV as Elmhurst looking to rally from behind. They have trailed throughout the second half, down by 9 at one point, and yet find themselves down only a point currently with 58.3 to play. Nebraska Wesleyan with the basketball out of the timeout. They have just 1 timeout left. Janelle Ball patiently waiting towards the right corner. Targeting Strubing, wide open underneath. Strubing with 14 points for Nebraska Wesleyan, none bigger than the layup moments ago. A 3-point advantage. Now the thing for the Blue Jays, they do not need a 3-pointer as Merklin attacks and hits the 15-footer. 30-second timeout for Elmhurst. 47-46. I say they do not need a 3-pointer because they are 0 of 15 from 3-point range today and shooting only 27% for the game. Bethany Warner gathering the Blue Jays, talking about the plan here with 36.2. Nebraska Wesleyan cannot hold the basketball. They will need a shot with a 6-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Let's take a look at some players who perhaps the Blue Jays may target if they cannot record a turnover. The Prairie Wolves are 9 of 10 at the line today. Only Janelle Ball has missed. She is 0 of 1. And as Nebraska Wesleyan breaks the huddle on the floor, the player you may want to think about fouling is Sadie Strubing. While she's hit both free throws today, just a 48% shooter on the season. Meanwhile, Janelle Ball and Katie Golden are in the 60% range as well. Or you can just try and force a stop and see if you can come up with a play in the final 6 seconds to win. 47-46, trapped is Rasmussen in front of the bench, and the final timeout of the game taken for Nebraska Wesleyan. 23.1 to go. A timeout on the floor, the final of the game for the visitors who lead by a point. They are clinging to the 1-point advantage. We'll bring you the finish when we return. This is Blue Jay TV.
I'd probably say being on the tennis team is the first one. I get along with the guys really well. We just got back from our spring break trip in Hilton Head. That was really fun. It was good team bonding. A lot of people are friendly. I haven't met too many non-friendly people, I'd say. Everybody's pretty welcoming. The life around here, I'd say, is pretty good. I have a job off campus. I teach tennis for kids. My coach helped me out with it. He worked there when he was in high school. I mean, I try to do as much as I can while I'm here.
How about a timeout begetting a timeout? Nebraska Wesleyan with their final timeout, and now Elmhurst will take a timeout as well. Blue Jays talking some things over. Tethany Warner, the head coach of Elmhurst, looking up at the clock and realizing that there are 23 seconds to play. Nebraska Wesleyan has 17 seconds on the shot clock. So if they use all of the clock, which you figure the Prairie Wolves will do, it would leave Elmhurst with only 6 seconds. And that is why I think you try to set up some form of trap on the inbounds play. Nebraska Wesleyan out of timeouts, has nothing to save them if they can't get the basketball in here, which would give the ball to the Blue Jays with an opportunity to win. Other than that, I say you can only give about 10 seconds or so before you need to foul, which would leave you 13 seconds potentially to hit a 3 to tie at worst case if Nebraska Wesleyan converts on both free throws. So that would be my advice from high atop R.A. Faginal Hall. I am obviously not the one making the decision, so we will see what Tethany Warner decides as the Blue Jays break the timeout. Schwartman, Monroe, Maisto, Merklin, and Ney for Elmhurst. Strubing, Ball, Golden, Rasmussen, and Shanahan for Nebraska Wesleyan. They're having problems getting it in and out of timeouts. Just beat the 5-second call. Out to get it is Ball between the circles. Shot clock is down to 10. Ball bouncing for Rasmussen, went for the steal, and it's a turnover. Schwartman tried to steal the ball away from Rasmussen, forced her to the floor, and fell out of bounds. So the shot clock is off with 10.8. A bucket wins it for the Blue Jays, and Tethany Warner with a timeout to talk it over. 7.6 to go, 47-46, Nebraska Wesleyan with the lead. And the Prairie Wolves, if they allow a basket to Elmhurst here, will be making the journey back to Lincoln, Nebraska without a victory following 2 games here in Chicagoland. They fell at Benedictine on Wednesday, 55-49, and have been leading throughout the second half here. Up by a point, 47-46, and they need to rely on the defense. Zooming in on the whiteboard for Tethany Warner as she talks with her coaching staff about a potential plan here. Natasha Williams, Todd Sherman, and Scott Davis, the assistants for Elmhurst. As the Blue Jays talking it over. Well, looking at some of the options for Elmhurst today. You've got time to take it to the basket. I think the immediate plan would be to take it to the hole and maybe try to draw a foul, otherwise kick it out for an open look. The leading scorer for Elmhurst in the game is Megan Merklin with 12. Megan Ney with 8. Kelsey Monroe, 6. Maisto will be the inbounder. Those in attendance rise to their feet. 7 6/10 to play. Maisto inbounds to Monroe. Dribbling left to Merklin at the left turn. In the lane, Merklin's shot is blocked. Ney underneath, her attempt, no. Monroe to beat the buzzer. It drops! Elmhurst wins. Count it! A third opportunity for the Blue Jays falls through as Elmhurst rallies from behind to win 48-47 at home. Merklin and Ney had opportunities, but it was Monroe at the buzzer dropping it in, And Elmhurst will head into the CCIW portion of the schedule at 5-6. Wow, what a finish today here at R.A. Fagenal Hall. Don't go anywhere on Blue Jay TV. We've got the final numbers coming your way in seconds. This is Blue Jay TV.
I have had a great experience at Elmhurst. I'm obviously involved with the volleyball program. We're like sisters. It was instant friends as soon as I came here. Every year, the seniors get to pick places where we want to go for a tournament. So we've been to California, Colorado, Boston, and it's just been a fun experience because not only do we play volleyball, we also get to do touristy types of things. I would say we're pretty close because we practice 5 days a week for 2.5 hours. We're lifting, we're doing bonding things, and we're traveling on the weekends. So you're pretty much with these girls for 3 months every single day for hours. So we're all pretty close.
Playing college football 4 years is very tough, but it's also very, very rewarding. And I think this past year is just a tribute to the hard work that I put in these past 3 years, and the team did. I mean, we won the most football games since 1985. That was probably the biggest highlight of my 4 years here. We had our ups and we had our downs, and I think we just stayed together through those and persevered together. Well, my professional goal is to teach and coach. You know, I definitely want to coach football. I got the experience from the 4 years at Elmhurst, which is going to be very beneficial for coaching experience in the future.
Wow, a tremendous finish at R.A. Fagenal Hall on this New Year's Eve as Elmhurst heads into 2011 with a victory, and a come-from-behind victory at R.A. Fagenal Hall by the final score of 48-47. The Blue Jays trailed by a deuce at the half, outscored Nebraska Wesleyan 27-24 in the second, and were able to escape with the victory on a putback from Kelsey Monroe. The third attempt at the game-winning shot. Elmhurst, with 7.6 to go, had the basketball. Megan Ney and Megan Merklin each had opportunities, but it was finally Kelsey Monroe who hit just her second field goal of the game to record the victory, as Elmhurst shoots only 28% from the floor this afternoon. Nebraska Wesleyan, much improved in the second half shooting-wise, finishing shooting 56% at 42% for the game, 19 out of 45. Neither team was able to make a three-pointer in the contest, an oddity, as the Blue Jays were 0 of 15 and Nebraska Wesleyan was 0 of 3. Well, we told you at the half that second chance points would be huge in the contest. The second chance points for Elmhurst in the second half, 10, as the Blue Jays recorded the victory in an exciting fashion here today, 48-47. Head coach of the Blue Jays, Tethany Werner, will be making her way over to drop in and say hello in mere moments. In fact, she's walking into your camera line as we speak. The head coach of the Blue Jays stepping in as Elmhurst heading into the CCIW portion on a victory. And Coach, I know that's the way you've got to go into conference play.
Geez, it is.
Are you breathing yet?
I know. No, I don't think so. You definitely have to go in with a win. I mean, that's how we wanted to end our season, or I guess our non-conference season. And, whoa, I don't know if I can feel my heart beating yet.
Tell me about the play call with 7.6. Obviously, you didn't draw it up to get 3 opportunities.
We did not. We knew we wanted to try to get a chance for someone going towards the basket, and then if that option wasn't open, for them to come around. And if they got the ball in there, if they didn't have anything to set on the ball screen, and just drive and try to put pressure on the defense, for them to either call a foul or for us to make it.
It was kind of a scrappy game today, to say the least. I mean, 48 points, and you end up with a victory.
I know. If you would have asked me that before then, there's no way would I thought we would win with 48 points. And this week, I mean, we have been working really, really hard on our defensive end, and I thought, you know, overall keeping them to 47 points is a good defensive turnout. Our offense just killed us with silly turnovers in the first half.
No three-pointers for you today either. 0 of 15 from three-point land, and yet still you find a way to win this game. Is this one of those contests where you look at the final score and you just kind of go, okay, it's done, and we won?
I know. I think I just want to throw these stats away, forget about the game, and then start looking towards Milliken. You know, and these type of games, though, you definitely want to come out on the end. You know, you have to grind it out. There's times where we got behind, and, you know, the girls never gave up. And that's something with a relatively young team overall that's playing in there. You know, we need that. We need them to be able to come in and be excited about a win like that. And with the way they all came in and celebrated, that's a great way to head off into a conference season.
Well, let's talk about some of those young players that you mentioned. You received a lot of contributions today. You've obviously been going deep to begin with, but players like Nikki Schaefer and C.J. Harris came in and I thought really gave you a spark there in the second half when you guys were trailing. Kim Schwartman, you went with her to start the second half while she only finished with 2 points in the contest. She was kind of one of those in-your-face defenders that you needed in a game like this.
I know, you're right. And there, Nebraska Wesleyan puts a lot of pressure. Their guards are really good to driving, and that was a key for, especially for Kim, to be able to come in, and she gave us great defense. And she gets, you know, her hand on the ball, gets some steals. And then also as CJ, she's kind of one of those multiple, you know, those players that can play multiple positions, either inside or out, and her quickness really helps us. And the person that I would say to give the most credit is Nikki Schaefer, who really hasn't seen hardly any minutes this whole season, and she's been working really, really hard in practice. And she's a person that offensively can shoot lights out, and you can see that the shots that she took, and I just think she got a little tired from not used to playing as many minutes as what she has in the past. But I'm very pleased with her being able to come into the game and adjust right away.
Did the layoff factor into this at all? Hadn't played since December 18th?
Maybe a little. In practice, I mean, we hadn't been shooting the ball very well. You know, and then the other day we did a three-point drill and we weren't very good. So this 0 for 15 right now doesn't really surprise me. So we are going to be spending a lot more time devoted to shooting and hitting our three-point shots.
One thing that looked out and stands out to me, I think, is the rebound total. Nebraska Wesleyan was a pretty good rebounding team coming in. They had out-rebounded their opponents. They had some good size. You guys out-rebounded them by 14, 44-30, and not only that, 23 of those were on the offensive end, which led to 15 points, including the game winner. Now, I'm sure when you get 23 offensive rebounds, you'd like to see a whole lot more than 15 points coming off of them, but you got the points off of the rebounds when you needed them most.
And that you're right, and that's huge because we haven't so far this year crashed the boards very hard, and so that's what we've been working on, is really trying to get in there and get those second chance points to where if, you know, someone misses, then we at least get, you know, 2 or 3 chances to put it back in. And for Nebraska Wesleyan, the only one key that I had for our girls was to box out, because they're big players, 20, 24, 50, they hit the board so hard. I mean, they average about 8 rebounds a game, and we knew that if we gave them second chances, it was just going to be a really tough battle for us to come back. So with giving up only 6 offensive boards, I'm really happy with that performance.
Take a look ahead to Milliken, one of the surprising teams in the CCIW in the non-conference portion of the slate. Going to be an interesting test for you on Tuesday.
It is. They returned everyone, I think, from last year with maybe a few injuries right now. We're waiting to see on that. And they cause a lot of teams trouble because they have a great post player, and they have people that can shoot from the outside. So they really spread the floor out, and if you go and you try to double team on their post player, they're going to kick it right out for someone to shoot a 3. So they do you know, create a little bit of a challenge. And then on the defensive end, they do a matchup kind of zone man defense, which causes some teams a little bit of trouble. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of days.
Congratulations on the victory. Happy New Year. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you. You too.
Bethany Warner, the head coach of Elmhurst College, following the 48-47 victory over Nebraska Wesleyan on this New Year's Eve, as the Blue Jays improved to 5-6 on the season, handing Nebraska Wesleyan their 6th consecutive defeat. Take a quick look at the final totals in the contest. The leading scorer in the entire game, 14 points from Sadie Strubing, 12 for Mallory Shanahan, and 11 for Shay Rasmussen, the 3 players in double figures for the Prairie Wolves. For the Blue Jays, Megan Merkland, the lone player to reach double digits with 12, as Elmhurst overcomes a difficult day's shooting, just 28% to post the victory. Kelsey Monroe with 8, Megan Ney with 8 points, Nikki Schaefer with a big 6 off of the bench for the Blue Jays, who also overcome 22 turnovers and forced Nebraska Wesleyan into 27 turnovers, 17 of which came here in the second half. And with that, I say fare thee well on this New Year's Eve. We say goodbye to you and say goodbye to 2010 as well. Have yourselves a Happy New Year, everyone. We'll talk to you again next year on Tuesday as Elmhurst welcomes Milliken to R.A. Faginal Hall at 7:30 for the CCIW opener. For our entire crew here at R.A. Faginal Hall, I'm Tim Calderwood. Have a great day and stay safe.